I'm going to tell you a story that takes part in Paris in 1782. This is just a few years before the French Revolution, but luckily, the people involved in this story do not know that it is going to happen. It is the story of how being a tax collector can be good for science, but very bad for your head. It is the story of Antoine Lavoisier, and how, with the idea of his wife, he combined bookkeeping and chemistry. Antoine Lavoisier was a scientist. He was also a member of the Paris Academy for Sciences since a long time. But he was also a tax collector, the official tax collector for the king. He spent a lot of time doing experiments and finding out stuff about chemistry. One morning, with his wife, Marie, who was also an inquiring mind, they went to the laboratory. And Marie asked, "What are we going to do today? Are we going to look at the elements and the air and the metals?" "Yes," he said, "I was thinking of looking again," said Lavoisier, "at the combination and the combustion of metals into air." And Marie watched him as he set up his flasks and the burners underneath and said, "I find this very interesting, how you can decompose water into gas, and then by combusting the gases to turn it back into water again. But when you do this with metals, and when you do this and combining the air, how can you be sure that there's not another element involved in what is happening?" "What do you mean?" said Antoine. "Well, if you have a flask of water and you make it into air and gas, and then you recombine the gases, and it becomes again a flask of water, you know that the water is about the same. But when you do this with metals, how do you know that there aren't other elements coming into play?" "But I don't understand," said Lavoisier. "What are you telling me?" Marie said, "In your bookkeeping for the taxes, you are very, very precise. You even said that we should put a wall around Paris to control what is coming in and what is going out. Why don't you do the same thing for chemistry?" "How could we do that?" "It's a very interesting idea," said Lavoisier. "Bookkeeping for chemistry." And so they put their minds together and they found ways to isolate the production and of the production of the combustion, the airs that came out, and then to measure again the weights, the volumes. And when Lavoisier started weighing, he saw that every time it was equilibrium. What was synthesized, what was remade, was exactly the same as its components. And that is how Antoine Lavoisier, with the support and help of his wife, Marie, constructed a new system for chemistry. That system became dominant, and it is the basis of our chemical system that we use today. A few years later, the French Revolution occurred, and Antoine Lavoisier was beheaded, not for his discoveries in chemistry, but because he was the tax collector.